Hey, welcome to the first edition of Speed Chronicles for 2025. I'm Todd Lewis, and we're going to tell you how the best start to the season is the Rolex 24. There is no better start to a new racing year.
SIG Media presents Speed Chronicles with Todd Lewis, powered by RevTV.
Thanks for joining me on this edition at Speed Chronicles, first edition of 2025. We mentioned at the end of last year, got some new things planned. It's going to be a full-on podcast, going to be available in a wider platform and a lot more areas as well. So looking forward to that. So you'll be able to check out Speed Chronicles on social channels as well, be it X or Instagram. So thanks for joining us on this maiden episode of 2025. Big things planned, big things happening, and we're underway in terms of the start of the racing season. It's good. It's nice to have it back. IMSA, you absolutely killed it again in the Rolex. I love this event and I enjoy it more and more each year. It's nice when you get to go to it, even if the temperatures are freezing cold the way they were this year, and they have been in other years when I've been. It's special. It's fun. It's an enormous accomplishment for the teams just to be there, be ready, and participate, and to make it to the end of this race. Yes, it's 24 hours on purpose. It is a big, long slog, and it's a hell of a way to open your racing season. There's other series like the stock cars, NASCAR, for instance, with the Daytona 500. They start the season with their biggest race, and it is an endurance race, and it takes a few hours to get through. But the Rolex 24 is 24 hours. It's an amazing event to watch and go to. You can watch it from start to finish. I don't know anybody that did this year watch it actually from start to finish, 1:40 in the afternoon on Saturday to 1:40 in the afternoon on Sunday. But I checked it out at a bunch of different times. I watched it. You come in, you come out, and that's part of the cool factor about it as well. It's an intensity that has the feeling of a much shorter race at different points. Like right off the start, there was a lot of good fighting, a lot of good battling in the early going. It sort of settles down. The feel and the vibe are different overnight in the darkness hours. Of course, they have fireworks in the middle of the night. I don't know if that's just to keep everybody awake or what, but all of these cool traditions that are part of the Rolex. Super fun, great event, lots of drama, lots of action. Congratulations to Canadian teams that did very well in Tower Motorsports, or winning in the LMP2 category, AWA Racing in the GTD category. Congratulations to both. Again, this is an enormous accomplishment. Just watching the celebrations, whether you're the overall winner like the Porsche Penske's were, or whether you're a winner in one of the different classes, it is an emotional win like so many others. There's great video and photos of teams just draped over one another, hugging one another, because it is such an emotion. You're tired, you're exhausted, the adrenaline is going, and it's just a combination of emotions that all come together. I think it's really good. So it's the timing of this marathon event, sort of sprints in the middle of it, biggest race of the season, and 24 hours. So super cool. There's great social media interaction with this event now too, that all of the teams share, be it on Instagram or X or whatever. There's always the fun shots of team members who are trying to get a nap at various points. Oftentimes they'll be sitting in a chair and just kind of have their head slumped over and their eyes closed or their head down. Others will try to find a place to stretch out, be it on top of a couple of fuel barrels or something like that. But it's emotionally and mentally exhausting as well as physically. So the accomplishment of winning, congratulations and well done. By the way, the move of the race goes to Tommy Milner in the Corvette. I know, really? The move of the race? Yes, absolutely. Because, everybody's experienced this moment, whether you're driving on the 401, whether you're driving on the Trans-Canada Highway, whether you're driving on an interstate, whether you're driving on the 405 or California. This is a universal moment that everyone has experienced in a car. You're frustrated with those around you. You don't like the way that they are performing and not necessarily being considerate, maybe being kind of a jerk, jackass, if you want to be more extreme. Tommy Milner found a way to get his arm out the window of that Corvette and give the middle finger salute to his competitor. That is an accomplishment. This is not an easy thing to do in these cars, but congratulations for Tommy Milner for accomplishing that. Makes for a great video and lots of good conversation about it. So IMSA teams will step back, regroup, and they go again in a few weeks, well, more than a few weeks, but in March with another endurance event. This were only 12 hours, the 12 hours of Sebring, which is another fantastic event, by the way. NASCAR in the Cup Series gets rolling this weekend. They're headed to Bowman Gray for the Clash, and I'm kind of curious about this one. I think it's interesting. It's been a good selection, I think, to move around the Clash. It had been a good idea. I think that this is going to have a very different feel, very different vibe than the last couple of years at the LA Coliseum, of course, which is a monstrosity of a stadium that they built the track in. This is the nod to the history of NASCAR and short track racing, going to Bowman Gray, the Madhouse, call it what you will. I think it'll be played up on TV that it is the Madhouse. You never know what's going to happen. There could be a fight at any moment because that's sort of the reputation of Bowman Gray. It's going to be played up on television. I don't know that it'll actually happen, that you have two Cup Series drivers duke it out on the front stretch or somewhere on the grounds the way they do far too regularly at Bowman Gray, but we'll see. I think that this is, again, an experiment. We're moving here. It'll be there for a year, maybe two, maybe more. I don't know, but I don't think it's a long-term home simply because they don't have the capacity. But it'll be an interesting event, and it's always hopefully fun to kick off the new season. The NASCAR season, of course, begins with the litigation still in the background as well over charters, over teams and antitrust lawsuits. There were no changes to the playoff system, which I think surprised a few people. Can't say as I'm completely shocked at this. There was a lot of discussion and talk on socials at the end of last year with Joey Logano winning the championship with a driver who finished 15th in the regular season, who turns out to be the champion. These are the rules of the competition. He followed them. They won. Yes, even with all the penalties and all the rest of it, he went through and got the championship. So good for him. We'll see what happens this year, but a new season ready to kick off. Of course, the Clash, and then in a couple of weeks, they'll be at Daytona once again to kick off their season with the Daytona 500, Xfinity and trucks and ARCA and all that getting going as well in a couple of weeks. IndyCar, a month away. St. Petersburg, looking forward to being there. Have enjoyed it the last few years and worked there and really enjoyed it. Super fun. It is also a great season opener. It's not the marathon that the Rolex 24 is, of course, but there's excitement to be back on track for a series. IndyCar, who've been off since last September, and there hasn't been much on-track activity, a little bit of testing, but not very much at all. And there's a lot of excitement about a new season and a new television broadcast partner in the United States on Fox. Super curious to see how they produce and present the shows. It's going to be different. There were people that were upset initially that IndyCar had left the relationship with NBC. It was 100% the right thing to do. All network shows on television for the races for IndyCar, and that's important because they need more eyeballs on this series. I like the promos that they've done so far. I like some selections that they've made in terms of the broadcast team. We'll see who else joins in. It's still going to definitely have a different look. There's good stories. Can Alex Palou win again? Another championship. Scott Dixon, he'd love to have 7, of course. Team Penske won a lot of races last year. Didn't win a championship. Joseph Newgarden has won 2 Indy 500s in a row. Can he win a third? What the series, of course, does need to do is promote all of the other events as well as they talk about the Indianapolis 500. It's a giant event. You should be riding on the coattails of that to push out your other events as well. Interesting business stuff going on with IndyCar. They, of course, have adopted charters as well. There's a new race coming in Arlington. There's another new street race that's on the horizon as well. Penske is taking over promotion of more events. They're taking over Nashville. They've got Arlington coming. They handled Detroit. They are involved in Milwaukee and others. I wonder how many more that they're going to have in the future. Green Savory doing an incredible job with St. Petersburg, Mid-Ohio, Portland, and Toronto as well. Worked at all of those events and enjoyed them thoroughly. Looking forward to being back again this year. So we'll see. There's there's not going to be much Michael Andretti this year, which is going to be a change not to see him wandering around, but excited for a new IndyCar season. And I haven't even gotten to Formula One yet. Okay, 75th year. Have you seen the first few images, be it video, be it stills, of Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari red and that new uniform? It's going to take everybody a little time to get used to this one, I think. I think it's interesting. I don't know how good it's going to be for Ferrari, for Lewis Hamilton, for Charles Leclerc, but I think it's going to be interesting. And I think there's going to be a lot of attention focused on that team. And hey, when Ferrari does well, the series does well. It's always good to see. Max is not undefeatable, I believe, going into 2025. That's going to be good. I'm really interested to see how the young drivers handle the grind of this long season that's going to stretch right towards the end of the year. Liam Lawson, Kimi Antonelli, Jack Doohan, Oliver Berman, all of these young drivers, how are they going to handle the grind of a young season? This is going to be a new level for anyone. Championship battles, as mentioned, going to be good in both constructors and the drivers' championship, I believe. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. NASCAR Canada gets going in a couple of months, but there's a lot of action and activity happening. They have a brand new partnership with RevTV. Happy to be a part of that and looking forward to exciting new things this season. Schedule came out a couple of months ago now. A much better schedule this year. It's a lot easier on teams that in terms of travel and cost, it's going to help them. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be some great competition this year and looking forward to it. So we won't have racing out on track in Canada for a little while yet, but still lots going on, including the Canadian International Auto Show that gets going in a couple of weeks as well. It's not racing specific, but there's always racing themes there as well in terms of a few race cars also showing up. So if you're in the area and want to check it out, absolutely worthwhile. We will have more episodes of Speed Chronicles coming out on a regular basis, and we'll be churning them out every week as we really get into the meat of racing season as well. So thanks for joining us. Click like and subscribe on whichever platform you're viewing and listening. We appreciate it. Check you out again next time.